Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I just explained the meaning of Surat al-Ikhlas back in Quran Kids Edition, but I just wanted to talk a bit more about the name of this surah because it's a really deep topic, and if I went into it in that video, then it would be like 20 minutes long. So let's get into it, inshallah. Ikhlas means sincerity. And that's basically how honest you are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How much you're really doing it, for His sake and not any other reason. Okay? And while Surat al-Nas and Surat al-Falaq, the previous two surahs that we went over, had, the title of the surah inside the surah. Like, for example, Surat al-Nas has the word Nas in it. Surat al-Ikhlas doesn't have the word Ikhlas in it. So it's not named this because this word exists in the surah. It's because ikhlas is something that you can actually get from, focusing on this surah. How? Well, in Surah Al-Ikhlas, if you remember, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us about how He is Ahad and He is Samad, which means that, He's like all in one. He has, He's number one and He's the only one. And we also learn about how, we turn to Him alone for everything, which kind of relates back to إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Basically, we only worship Him and we only depend on Him for help. And so the way that can help us in having ikhlas, sincerity, is that, we're only going to do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake because we realize that He is ahad. He is one, He's alone, and there is no one even close to how special He is. And so, we're going to do it for His sake. Now, the tricky thing about ikhlas is that it is like the biggest secret between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, if you ask, okay, what is the most hidden thing that, inside of you that only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, it is your ikhlas. Whether you're sincere or not. Basically, whether your intention is just for Him or not. Because the problem is that ikhlas is something that's very easy to fake. It's very easy to look like you're sincere, but only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know if you're really sincere or not. For example, let's say you and your sister have to make the bed every day for your chores. So each of you has to make, your own bed or something. And your sister forgets every single day. See all this scribble scratch? That's like the messy bed. So all the time your sister just forgets to do that chore, and then your mom gets really mad at her and yells at her and stuff. And so you decide, you know what, let me do a good deed. How about I fix the bed for her? And that way, my mom will be happy, she will be happy, the bed will be happy, everyone will be happy, right? And so, that's a good deed that I can do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake, to get closer to Him. Great. So then you go and make the bed. But then, after a few days, then your mom is, she's happier with you. She's praising you every day. You're such a good sister. You make your own bed. You make your sister's bed. And your mom's happy with the bed. But she actually got even madder at your sister now. Because see, oh my gosh, you can't even make your own bed, and now your sister makes her bed and your bed. What an irresponsible person you are, and stuff like that. And so you realize that you kind of just made it worse for your sister, right? So now comes the decision. Are you going to have ikhlas or not? Well, if you're not being sincere, if you're, kind of doing it for your own sake now, then you're just going to keep making the bed for your sister every day. And you're going to make excuses like, well, at least I'm helping her and stuff like that. But you know that you're not really helping her, and she's actually, getting in more trouble. You're just doing it so that, your mom praises you more and stuff. But if you have ikhlas and you really want to do that good deed, you really want to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy by saving your sister from getting in trouble, then you're going to get more creative. And you're going to be like, okay, you know what? I think it would actually be better for my sister if I don't make her bed, if I just remind her to make her bed. And that way, my mom is actually happy with her. And sure, my mom won't be, as happy as she was with me anymore. Now she's just going to be normal with me. But at least my sister is going to get out of trouble. So it looks like you're being a worse sister than before, huh? Before she was making her bed, now she just stopped making her sister's bed. But you know, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, that you are actually being a better sister. So this is an example of basically that secret between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that, you could choose to, do a lesser good deed. It's still a good deed to make your sister's bed. It's not a bad deed at all. Oh my gosh, it's a good deed. But you can choose to do a lesser good deed because, it's better for you. Or you could choose, to impress Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though people will not see that, you're actually being better than before. So that's an example of how Ikhlas is basically something that only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know about. And from the many different examples of situations in our everyday lives when our Ikhlas is tested, one of them is secret deeds, secret good deeds or secret bad deeds. Other people don't see you, they won't judge you for what you chose, but you still make the right choice because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. So that's Ikhlas, doing it just for His sake. A great example of this, and especially on Arafah day, which is like the best day ever, is fasting, right? That's a secret between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other people don't know if you, secretly went and drank water, but you know that you didn't because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was watching, right? And so, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us to fast, because that's a sign of our sincerity and, our loyalty to Him. Another example is focusing in salah. You can pray slowly in front of people, but no matter how slow you are, if you're not actually thinking about the meaning, then only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will know whether, you were actually focusing or you're just trying to show off. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us to do these things, to prove ourselves to Him. But it doesn't have to be in secret. You don't have to be alone, praying or fasting and stuff like that, for it to be Ikhlas. There are so many examples where instead of choosing the path that most impresses, people who are watching, then you choose what impresses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if it'll make those other people kind of unimpressed of you, right? And that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is priceless. If you choose Him over others, because that's what Islam is all about. La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no one who deserves to be worshipped and loved that much. And so when you choose Him over them, then you're saying La ilaha illallah with your actions, right? And oh my gosh, if you can just achieve this ikhlas that's, so amazing to get, that only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know about, then you will feel and see His love just raining down on you. And remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our ilah. And what did we talk about in when we were going over Surah Al-Ikhlas? How ilah is someone whose love you can't live without. And having ikhlas is, I think, the best way to earn the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So let me just give you a few more, story examples to help you get a better feel of what ikhlas is. But even then, these are just specific examples, and I can't tell you every situation that you can have ikhlas in. The only way to really practice it is to have it in your mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most important, and to really in your heart care about Him the most, and then you will get the ideas that you'll need, because ikhlas needs more creativity than just living normally. So the first example, inshallah, is, let's say it's Eid. Tomorrow is Eid, inshallah. So let's say tomorrow, it's Eid, you're looking forward to, getting gifts and stuff, and then your sibling, let's say you have, 7-year-old sibling, and they go get a paper and draw a big red heart on it, and they say, here is your Eid gift. And you're just like, wow, what an amazing Eid gift. So now there are two paths you can choose. You can either say, oh no, it's okay, you don't need to give me an Eid gift, don't worry about it. And it'll look to other people that, oh wow, this person's being so nice. They're, saying it's okay, you don't need to give me an Eid gift. But really, in your heart that you were just doing that because you didn't want to give them the credit for actually giving you a gift when it's not that awesome of a gift, right? And so, that's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are you going to choose what impresses people, which is saying, oh, it's okay, you don't have to, or are you going to choose what impresses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is not just accepting the gift, but saying, wow, I love it so much, I'm going to hang it up and keep it forever, and not just taking it as charity, like, okay, fine, I'll take it, but actually, showing that you love it, right? Another example is, let's say someone was arguing with you, and you know how in an argument sometimes then the other person just says the wrong thing, like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't have said that because you just have the best comeback for that. So one of the best ways to have ikhlas in that way, in that situation, is to just stay silent. I know it's so hard. Like, you have the perfect roast. You can just crush them and end the argument right now. And basically, just win over them and embarrass them and everything, ruin their day, but you just stay quiet. And that is something that, like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would appreciate so much. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was like that. Basically people would say bad things to him, and he wouldn't just go and, shoot back at them and embarrass them and stuff. He would be, he would respond to evil with good. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to do that in the Quran. So that's just, like, if we can do that, it's really hard. I've been in that situation before, and it's so hard. And, sometimes I've failed. But basically, if we can just achieve that and, all just try to work hard and be better, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will love you, okay? The next example is kind of like rubbing in a good deed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks in the Quran about how, it's better to just say a good word than actually do a whole good deed, but then rub it in after and say, hey, I did this for you, or, you're giving me a hard time, but I'm still going to do it for you. So, for example, let's say your sibling, your little sister, is scared of the dark, okay? And she wants to go, like, I don't know, use the bathroom all the way on the other side of the house, and it's dark, and she says, hey, can you help me turn on the light and stuff? So now your whole family is sitting around, and you could say, oh, I was in the middle of something, but it's okay, I can come and help you, and you go and help. And then everybody's like, wow, so cool, that's so nice. Or you could just quietly, without the other people even noticing, just go and help her and come back. So, what would impress the people is if you rub it in, right? That, oh, you know what, it's going to be difficult for me, but I'll still do it. But what will impress Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is if you just go quietly and do it. So that's, you either choose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or you choose the people. Then another type of ikhlas is basically, uh-oh, baby. Okay, that's just my baby brother. Another example of ikhlas is whether you make an excuse for laziness or not. So some people, if they don't want to help you, then they're just going to make up this, bogus reason of why they're not helping you and how it's your fault when really it's not. So, for example, if someone asks you to help them in their homework, and then you say, well, last week you actually didn't help me in that thing that I wanted you to do, so I'm not going to do it right now. And really, that's not why. It was just that, you were kind of busy right now, but you didn't want to say that. You wanted to make it look like it was the other person's fault, so you said it's because of that. And the thing is that sometimes, that's the baby, sometimes other people will accept your excuse. They'll actually believe you. But the problem is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the problem is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always watching. He knows, like, even if other people accept the excuse, then He knows whether that's for real or not, and He knows whether you were telling the truth or not. And being truthful is a very essential part of ikhlas. It's basically, being honest with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so don't make excuses for laziness. If you don't have time, just say, I don't have time. But don't make them look like it's their fault when it's actually not, and you make them, feel bad about themselves, right? Okay. Finally, here's a personal example in my life about how I had to learn, how to have ikhlas in a certain situation. So when my sister was little, and whenever she would make a mess or do some naughty little kid thing, then she would get really mad if you try to, like, give her a long talk at that point or correct her or something, right? Like, at that point, right after she did the thing, whatever you would tell her, whatever long talk you would give her, it would all just go in one ear and out the other, and she would not listen at all. Okay? But it would look really good in front of my parents when I would try to give her a long talk about it right after she did it. So after a long time of lecturing her every time she does that, and then making her even more mad and making her not want to listen to me at all, then I realized, you know what? Okay, this is not working. This is just making her even more mad. And yeah, it's making my parents say, "Oh wow, that's nice of you to teach her that," but I don't know, it's like I didn't feel good doing that. So then I realized that, you know what I need to do? I need to be patient. I need to wait until she cools down, and then I need to correct her on it. And till today, then sometimes I still forget and make mistakes in that area. But I try, and everyone tries. And inshallah, basically we can all, in our personal situations, whatever ikhlas test you have in your life, then inshallah we can all pass it. Okay, now did you catch that? I said I'm trying. Now, you don't know if I'm telling the truth, right? See, that's the thing about ikhlas. You don't know if I'm actually trying to, be a better person or not. Just because I tell you that doesn't mean it's true, right? And so, ikhlas is, again, a secret between the person and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so one lesson that we can learn from that is that don't judge yourself based on others' opinion of you, both good and bad. So if other people have a bad opinion of you, but you know that you are being honest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you're good. You don't need to, basically change because of them. And if other people have a good opinion of you, but you know in your heart that you're not being honest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you still need to work on yourself. Just because other people don't see the need to change in you, that doesn't mean that, we don't actually need improvement, right? So we're not supposed to judge ourselves in Islam based on others' opinion of us. We need to look into our own self, look into our own mirror, and decide whether we're on the right path or not. And losing ikhlas is something that none of us are safe from. So we don't just have to, work to get ikhlas, but also to keep it. I need to keep checking myself. You need to keep checking yourself. And there's really no point where we can stop being careful because we already have it, because we can lose it just as quickly as we got it. Ikhlas is really sneaky, and shaitan is really good at changing our intentions to bad ones. Even though there are some signs that can give you a good guess of whether someone's sincere or not, and you can give them advice, no one can really be sure about you except you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let's make an effort, inshallah, starting from today, the best day of the year, to be sincere and, do things just for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake, no one else. And very importantly, make dua. Do not underestimate the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answering your du'as. Come on, the Ilah, the Ahad, the Samad, He is offering to help you. So ask right now. You can pause the video. Ask Him, Ya Allah, please keep us strong enough to be from the mukhlisin. To not just change our intention the moment we see something we want in the dunya. To always choose you and not choose anyone else, because you are our God and you are the one we love the most. And may this, inshallah, be the start of a better and more ikhlas-filled life for me and all of you, inshallah. Have a nice Arafah, and make sure to make a lot of dua for all of the Muslims, ikhlas, inshallah. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.